Welcome back to another episode of the Scoop College Basketball Podcast. We are back with another conference preview. Today we are previewing the MAC, the single A MAC, not to be confused with the double A MAC, which we will get to later on. But yeah, it's a pretty solid league. It was ranked the 19th strongest league in KenPom last year, which is a little down from where it has been in the past, but still provides some interesting teams, a few top 100 teams. The top group was pretty solid. The bottom group wasn't so good last year, but we will talk about if any of those teams will improve. Kent State, they were the tournament champions. They lost to Indiana in the first round. And Toledo won the regular season. They have a pattern of not being able to get it done in the conference tournament, but they were still pretty good. They made NIT. They lost in the first round there. But yeah, Kyle, what are your opening thoughts on the conference?
I think it's a little better personally. I don't think it's the cesspool of, really bad teams besides maybe the last three to four. I think the top eight or so is pretty good. So I think the conference can improve a little bit. So
Yeah, so from the all conference teams last year on the first team, Xavier Castaneda exhausts his eligibility. Enrique Freeman is back at Akron. Sincere Carey exhausts his eligibility. Ray J. Dennis, he transferred to Baylor. JT Shumate exhausts his eligibility. On the second team, Peyton Sparks transferred to Indiana. Jerron Coleman transferred to Nebraska. Malik Jacobs exhausts his eligibility. Cedric Milner exhausts his eligibility, and Dwight Wilson also exhausts his eligibility. Moving to the third team, Jalen Sellers is off to UCF. Curtis Jones, he's going to Iowa State. Emoni Bates started his pro career. Mekhi Larry exhausts his eligibility. And finally, David Coit is back at Northern Illinois. A few new coaches in the league this offseason. Todd Simon, he replaces Michael Huger at Bowling Green, which I think we both think is a very good hire. Um,
mhm.
a little odd geographically almost because Simon hasn't really he's been more out in like that area, but he's from like Michigan, so he definitely has some experience with the
Mhm.
area and was a big upgrade. And George Halkovich for Buffalo replaces Jim Whitesell. Um, I'm not a huge fan of this hire, mostly because like Buffalo could not really get guys. Like he was not their first option at all.
Yeah.
And
Kind of shows with their roster here.
yeah,
I'll be
which is
honest.
surprising. It's surprising that Buffalo like isn't a good like program like financially and all that stuff because they've been like really good the past few years. I mean not like the past 1 or 2 years, but like even so they've been pretty competitive.
And they bring
They
in
I
a lot of
mean
talent usually. You
Yeah.
know.
I mean, their last two coaches before Whitesell were Nate Oates and Bobby Hurley, who are both pretty solid. I mean, Oates is one of the best coaches in the country, and Hurley's pretty
Mm,
solid high major coach in his own right. So,
all right.
yeah, definitely interesting to see that the program isn't where you think it might be. But moving to our all conference teams, my player of the year is Enrique Freeman.
Yeah, same here.
He is very good in both sides of the ball. Um, he's going to be number one option on this team now. Likely with Castaneda gone, Akron, really good inside player, can really rebound, score inside, and yeah, best player on the best team is what I was going for, and I think he's just the best player in the conference overall. So that is why I had him player of the year. Another guy on my first team that I had is Jalen Hunter for Ohio. I'm in Ohio this year. I think he is their best player. He was playing really good down the stretch. He's a solid player overall that I think will take a jump this year.
Yep. So my first team, I got Sharif Mitchell.
Wow,
Looking
wow, wow.
now,
I like Sharif Mitchell, but he's not even a start. Jalen Hunter is a starting point guard.
he is. I think he's gonna be their other guard who starts,
Sharif
honestly.
Mitchell can't really play off the ball. Um,
Okay. All
I
right.
mean, he's good, but like he'll be like a glue guy point guard. Like he was a
Mhm.
glue guy point guard that had like clamps at defense at
I have
Creighton.
Jalen Hunter on my second team. I think I could swap them. Hunter is good though. His splits were really impressive.
Yeah, Hunter is definitely a better point guard, and
Yeah, no, he's much more proven.
Yeah.
A lot of good guards in this conference, at least on the first two teams.
Yeah. So another guy in my first team is Dante Maddox from Toledo. Toledo loses a lot of production. He's their best returning player. Was a really efficient shooter last year that I think could see an expanded role with like no Dennis, Milner, Shoemate, all three of who were like high level scorers. I mean Toledo's coach is such a good offensive coach that like it's gonna work out. So that's why I had him here. Did you have him in your all
Um,
conference teams?
he's on my second team.
Okay.
So yeah, I have Tyson Acuff from
Okay.
EMU. I
I had
think
him on my second team.
so. There's one thing about EMU that their coach does seem to do well is guys put up numbers. And now since Farrakhan and Emoni are both gone, Acuff is the first guy. Undoubtedly this year, he could average 18 to 20 a game. I think.
Yeah, he was like legitimately their best player last year. Like
Yeah,
obviously Imani like put up
monkey
the numbers. He was more talented, but like I think Akov was the most productive player on the team
fell
last
under
year.
the radar last year for
And
sure. Um, he's a
yeah.
good player.
He is a good player that yeah, I mean he's gonna get more opportunities as well. So yeah, I had him second team. Another guy I had my first team is Keyshawn Williams. Northern Illinois was hurt last year, at the end of last year to back half, but really put up numbers when he was healthy. Really put up numbers last year when he was healthy as well. Former Tulsa transfer that I think is going to continue to put up numbers, and I think Northern Illinois might be decent this year. So that's
I
another reason.
love I love their roster this year. And
Mhm.
yeah, no, Keyshawn was awesome when he was healthy. He's on my first team. He had some player of the year consideration for me too, but I
Yeah,
went
it kind of depends on the team success there.
yeah. So
Um,
him there.
let's see. How many more players do we have on
So I
your
have
first team?
my first team. I got Anderson Marambo from
Okay.
Miami. He was awesome last year, man. I look at
Yeah.
these numbers and I actually it said on like one of Toledo's websites that Shoemate was back, so I had to make a last second
Nice,
change.
nice.
So
I wish he
he
was
got
back,
one.
but
And yeah, no, he's a big fella.
he
But
he is a big guy.
he's got a lot of skills. No,
He
he's
is
a very
very
skilled
skilled, very
player.
skilled.
Don't let the looks fool you. He's D1 for a reason.
Yes.
No, he's a fun player, and he's Miami, Ohio's best player in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean it's close, but
It's
I
close.
think that too because I have Mirambo on my second team. Yeah, really like him. Transferred from Cleveland State where he didn't do that much and was really good last year at Miami, Ohio. And Miami, Ohio is a team I don't hate either. Although I'm not sure how
All
good
right.
Travis Field teams can be. There's a lot of talent on the roster for sure
Forgot he's
and
there.
a path to win. But the final player I had on my first team is Chris Payton for Kent State. Was really effective last year. Probably going to step into a bigger role. Really good athlete for the conference, and I mean, I'm just off of reading the almanac. I think their coach said it was he had like the best off season he's ever seen. That might just be like coach talking, but like even so, like I had him on my first team before I even
I
thought of.
was wondering if anyone would join me on the Chris Payne wagon, man. He
He
was
is
so
good.
impressive last year, on both ends of the ball. He was really like their glue guy.
Mm.
He had a ton of big moments. He's a scary good athlete. Really crazy dunk package. But he has other skills too. To think Pitt kind of let him go, maybe a little prematurely, because he's got skills that'll contribute anywhere. I think he can really make a leap this year. Kind of focus on maybe his perimeter game a little more. I don't know if he has one, but we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, his offensive rating conference player is 142.1.
It was
That is off
incredible.
the charts.
It was
Like,
incredible,
let
dude.
me pull up. I want to see who was second because
Now that
he was,
Shoemate's gone, I'm gonna put him on second team because Kent State's like
Um,
They lost a lot, dude. I wasn't sold on him.
yeah. I'm not sold on them either, but I also think that some of those teams are going to be good no matter who they have.
He's a great coach, so I did
Yeah.
give him a pretty high rank.
Let me pull up the yeah, he was
He was awesome. Like I love Chris Payton.
let's see, where is he? Trying to figure out how to maybe hmm, maybe it's not showing it because she didn't play. I feel
I
like
actually had
there's
him as like my breakout
oh
player.
conference only stats. Here we go. Yeah, yeah, it's just off the charts how efficient he was.
Yeah, it was a
As
lot of dunks and stuff around the
yeah,
rim.
I mean
You know,
it's a lot of stuff like that, but
it's a
still
re
like
he's still
shooting
like
like
incredibly
80% from the field isn't still
and
impressive no
mhm.
matter what he's doing, combined with like good athleticism, rebounding. He's going to be very good.
Mm.
Moving on to my second team, I have David Coit from Northern Illinois as well. He was their best player last year because Williams went down. I think he's their second best player now, but Williams and Coit is still a very good duo, backcourt duo in the conference. So I slid him in on my second team there.
Yeah, he's my first second team member as well. He kept them very respectable last year, even when
I mean,
Williams went
9-9 in
down.
conference.
They were very competitive with him out, which was surprising to me. So I have him there. I have Dante Maddox Jr. there. 2 years ago, he's from Cal State Fullerton, very efficient. Last year, honestly, looking at a lot of these Toledo guards, like a lot of them, even the ones that weren't main options last year, are just so efficient. Their efficiencies are scary.
I mean, Toledo's offense was
It's a
it was
machine, man.
yes.
And it wasn't just Ray J and Shoemate. It was the guys around them too.
Mm-hmm.
They just have so many shot makers.
Yes.
And Maddox was certainly one of them. So definitely love his game. And yeah, he's on there.
Yes. Who's another player you have in your second
So I
team?
have good old Ali Ali's back. So
I have him in my second team as well.
gotta put him back on the second team. Maybe he'll be a little bit
Yes.
better
Yeah,
now that
he
he's
he
back.
was he was he was bad at Butler. I mean,
He's not
quite
good.
frankly, but like he was an all-conference player in the MAC 2 years ago. And I mean, I think I don't
And
have
I
any
loved
reason to
him at
suggest he
Akron his first
won't
time.
be.
And,
Yes.
like
Um,
Butler
yeah,
was just a train wreck. I'm not gonna blame him on that completely.
yeah. That might have been just a Butler issue overall. The last player I have on my second team is AJ Brown for Ohio. Was pretty good as a freshman last year. I think he's going to get even better. Um, good body, good skill. Another reason why I'm in an Ohio this year. So yeah, did you have him
Yeah,
on
he
your
was
all conference?
somebody that did jump out at me. I didn't know. I didn't. So I had Sharif Mitchell. I knocked him down to second team. And then on my third team, my first member, I got Morgan Safford.
Okay, I am on my third team. Let's see. So that's on my second team. Another guy on my third team is Jalen Anderson for Ball State. Coming over from Loyola Marymount, shot the ball really well in conference play. I think he could be Ball State's best player, which would lead to production, even though I'm not super high in Ball State because of what they lost. I think he could still be a very solid player, moving down a level, and getting more shots.
Yeah, so as far as the Kent State route went, I went with Giovanni Santiago. I think a
Okay.
healthy season. They just need help at guard. Like outside of him and Billingsley, I think it is. They're just like I don't know. They
Well,
lost a lot of guard.
I'll jump in there because I had Reggie Bass on my third team.
Okay.
He had a productive freshman season in the conference in Central Michigan. I think he's very good. Central Michigan loved to waste talent last year. Um, I
They
think
always
he,
do.
I mean, he was a former Illinois commit. Like he's good. Can definitely play at a better level. Kent State's gonna need guard production. He's like a proven scorer. Can play to one a little bit too.
Santiago is more of a distributor. He's not like Although I think, part of it is because he was behind carry. He didn't have to be as an assertive scorer as he might have had to, but I think he's going
Yeah.
to look for his own shot this year too. And
Okay.
it's good that they have help at guard and Bass as well. So,
Yes. Who's another guy you have?
and then I have, and this might be a bit of a hot take, but I'm gonna trust Jeff Bowles in his development here with Ike Cornish from Ohio on my third team. I think a really good
You're
confidence
picking
bowler.
Ohio bench players here. Like they have guys. I
It
mean,
is crazy how deep they are, man. Like you
they
look
have
at the
guys that are going to
problem.
start over them that you aren't picking.
I mean, he's gonna get good minutes. I
Yeah, but
know.
like AJ Brown's going to play a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, be Hunter, him, Mitchell. Who would start at the four?
Um, I think Brown's going to be the four. AJ Brown.
I
He's
thought,
going to play up a little bit. Let
wouldn't he
me
be the three?
see. I mean, ideally he would be a three, but he's. Let me. How
Uh,
big is he? I mean,
he's like 6'4", I thought.
yeah, but I mean, let me think.
Cornish is 6'6". He's got a power
That's
five
true.
body.
I mean, Elmore James is big, a little bit bigger for a guard. He's gonna be good. Like AJ Clayton can play the four. He's probably gonna be your starting five, but like Gabe Wisnitzer can maybe play a little bit more at the five.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be a lot of four guard. Um, is what they're gonna be running a
I think
lot.
he'll compete for that four spot though. At
He
least,
could. I mean, I just haven't seen it, so
yeah. No,
um,
of course with Ike in the past, like we just haven't seen it. But I mean, no, I definitely think there's not really many better mid-major developing staffs than Jeff Bowles. So
that's true. That's true. Um,
the Almanac did give them development staff of the year, whatever that means in the MAC.
Yeah,
So
well, it's a lot of a few good development staffs. Like the teams at top of the league, very good development
I'm
staff.
about to say it's not just them too. It's
But
Akron, it's Toledo,
you can stay yeah,
State.
all those. But another guy has Brian Taylor for Central Michigan. He was good last year. Not a fan of Central Michigan, but I think he's gonna be fine in his own right. I just threw him on there
Yeah, I
because I
got
think
Cy Chapman from Buffalo,
okay,
fifth year.
coming back from injury last year where he was
Yeah,
out.
pretty efficient player. I think he's Buffalo's best player. They don't really have a ton. They have a lot of like,
Yeah,
young guys with good ceilings, but I mean, I just will have to see. I think they got Anquan Bolden's son on their team.
they did. It's crazy.
Just
Uh,
wild. Like I didn't even think he would be into basketball. I thought, he'd be like his father and get into football, but he's gone the basketball route apparently. So,
he
and
is.
my last member, somebody I love, is Jason Spurrier.
Yeah, he was my last member as well.
He's awesome, man. I loved him at Southern Utah. He's efficient around the rim. I think Bowling Green is way better than I thought they were. I think Simon did
Yeah,
a good job, all things considered, recruiting in an area he's not familiar with. He got some talent here. He brought in some guys from the NJCAA
yeah,
conference that are
yeah.
pretty good. No,
Dejan
I was
Humphrey, that's gonna be
kind of
good.
impressed.
But
So,
yeah. So fairly similar all conference teams. Obviously a little discrepancy there, but kind of on the same page there. I like Spurs as well. But yeah, moving to our top 10 transfers, Ali, I have at one.
yeah, okay. I got him at two. Um,
Yeah,
I'm gonna move Sharif down. Yeah, I had to ask you more about him.
yeah,
Because Creighton boys, you know, they
yeah.
think you get hype.
So
I
who'd you
don't
have
know.
at one then? Or
Sharif.
okay.
And
So
he's definitely not one. Although this is a
uh,
weak transfer conference, I kind of feel like
I mean, sort of, but I
they don't
feel
want to.
confident that like all 10 guys are going to be pretty solid
They will.
producers.
They'll be contributing for sure. So I have Ali at two. Jason Spurgeon at three.
Okay, so I have Reggie Bass at two, Spurgeon at three. Um,
I got Cy Chapman at four, and we'll
I
put
didn't
Reg.
include him because he was there last year, even though he didn't play. So I
Okay,
mean that's kind of a gray area.
okay. I'm
You could
about to say
include him if
he
you
might
want.
have been there last
Yeah, he was there last year. He was hurt, so he didn't play at all.
Oh, okay.
because he like tore his ACL or something like that, I believe. But
Okay.
number 4, I have Bradley Dean from Miami, Ohio. He's a D2 transfer, averaged over like 21 points, shot the ball well from 3-point range, like 43% on like over 2 makes a game, solid passer. I think he's gonna be a real reason why they could be competitive. He can really score the ball, and he's gonna
Miami,
make an
Ohio
impact.
likes to score the ball too. They're a fast-paced
Hmm.
team. So he could fit what they want to do for sure.
Yes. So I
Um,
have him at 4. Jalen Anderson at 5. I already talked about him.
yeah, I got Marco Maladich from Toledo at
Okay.
5. I know he was from the NEC, but I really love his game. I think Toledo recruited him not because of the conference he's in, it's because of his shot creating ability.
Yeah.
He can
He was sitting around the portal in like July. So
yeah, no, that's for sure.
might as well take him in that case.
When you're an NEC player, there's an asterisk next to your name for sure. And if you're on one of the worst teams in D1, but he shot at 16 points per game, 43% shooting, not horrible being on a hard team. Um, and decent efficiency from three, but again, he's really creative. I think Toledo can work wonders on him. So I actually
Yeah.
almost included him on my all conference teams too.
Yeah, I have a different Toledo guy at number 6. I had Ben White. Not like a huge
And
fan of
like
him personally. I just like that he's going
he's
to
all
be
right.
starting at Toledo. Like he's going to be starting. That's just kind of what
And
I
you got
went
to
down
think of
to.
their
And
track record
Toledo's
with
going to be good.
Shoemate, man. Like, he has
Yes.
some similar skills to Shoemate. Not the shooter, maybe, but he
Yeah, I
could.
mean, and it's kind of what Shoemate's whole game is, but
Right, yeah.
um, I think there can still be some parallels made there. Um,
I had
just
Ben
with
White at 6.
yeah, I
Um,
am 6 as well. So
and then
on the same page there.
yeah,
Uh,
I think I had Cornish at 5, and then I had Philmont Gibberwheat.
I do not like. I'm not a big fan of his. He was
Yeah,
not good at DePaul. He's not a good basketball player.
yeah. Uh, I think he's in
He
for
could
a
be
little bit
okay.
of a role
He could
change.
be okay in the MAC, but like I did not like him at
Yeah,
DePaul.
obviously he was not efficient at all. Like, but doesn't
He
really
just
even boil down to that. He wasn't
didn't
good
look
there,
like
no
he just
doubt.
wasn't good. I mean, I could see it though. He's starting. Yeah. I mean,
Hope he's good defensively at least because he's big. Um,
yeah. I mean, he's not really that, but he's like tall-ish, but he's pretty
I believe he's six
small.
eight if I'm not.
Yeah, and he's like
But
180.
yeah, he's skinny. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
he's really skinny. I didn't have him on my list. I consider him, but number 7, I had Caleb Thorne for Akron. Good point guard, transfer in conference. Really good, like pass first point guard. That's should be able to carve out a solid role with some pieces to pass it to. So I had him there.
So I had Marcus Hill from Bowling Green.
Okay.
He's one of
Yep.
their NJC AA guys.
Mhm.
And he's probably their best one. They had somebody from Garden City as well, who's pretty good, but
Speaking about Garden City, did you see Arturo Morris committed there?
oh
That's
god,
crazy. That's crazy that anyone took him. Like, I know like JUCOs are like the
of
second chance
course it was
place, like
Garden
last
City, man.
chance
They're a
you,
known community college too. That's the
why
bad,
would anyone take him? Like that's just irresponsible at all levels. Like
no doubt.
he's past his chances.
That's an understatement. And then I have Jalen Anderson at 10. So
Okay. So number 8, I had Trey Thomas from Vanderbilt. Wasn't really that good at Vanderbilt, but played solid minutes in the SEC. So that's worth something. He can
he's
definitely
on
be
Bowling Green too, isn't he?
more. Yeah, he's at Bowling Green. Number 9, I had another Bowling Green player. I had DJ Smith, Little Rock transfer, still pretty young, average double digits. I know Little Rock wasn't really that good, but I think with Bowling Green's roster outlook, he can see some solid minutes, can contribute right away. Um, and number 10, I had Ty Freeman for Kent State. He adds experience, size, and a wing for the Golden Flashes. I think it'd be a solid contributor.
Hmm.
Yeah, is that all your 10?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
everybody.
So moving to breakout players, and my one I had is Orlando Lovejoy for Eastern Michigan, just a guy that will benefit with the more shots he's gonna be able to take. Played some decent minutes as a freshman last year. Wasn't like super efficient, but I think he's a guy that could see a better role in year two with not as the shot checkers next to him.
Yeah, so I also have an EMU guy. I have Legend Jeter.
Okay. I really considered him, but I didn't want to have two Eastern Michigan guys on my
Yeah,
list because I
yeah.
don't think they're good enough to warrant that.
No,
But
definitely.
I do really like the
He's from
breakout potential of
Providence
him.
2 years ago, I
Yes.
believe. He was there last year.
Mm-hmm.
So solid. I think he's good on the glass. He averaged like 7 to 8 a game last year, something like that. I think he'll just take a bit of a jump. So
Mm-hmm. Jalen Solinger for Kent State can really shoot the
yeah,
ball.
he's solid.
Another thing where like since Harry Carey's gone, like who's gonna score? He could be an option for sure. I mean, can really shoot a ball. So I
Hmm.
think that could go up. Let's see. Who's another player you have?
So I had Johnny Via Smith from Buffalo,
Okay.
Seton Hall transfer of
Yeah.
2 years ago. I think he was pretty efficient around the rim last year. He's six
Yes.
nine. I definitely think he's somebody that'll take a bit of a scoring jump this year. So
Yeah, I could see that happening. Another guy I had was Andre Lorenzen from Toledo. I think he's going to be in for an increased role. Um, was he a former St. Louis transfer? I think he was
yes,
former
he
St. Louis transfer,
was. I know
but he
you're
could
talking.
definitely see some minutes. Might start probably off the bench, I think, but he's gonna be one of the only bench players that has experience. A
Mhm.
lot of freshmen run Toledo, so I think he could be in for a pretty solid role right away.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
Chris Payton, obviously.
okay. I didn't include him because I already had him on my all conference teams, but he
And
would
then I
fall
have
under my breakout category.
Quar McPherson from NIU,
Okay.
Nebraska
Did he ever
transfer.
play a game there, or was he just like hurt the whole
No,
time?
no, he was hurt all the time, but he
Yeah, that's
was
what I thought.
really good. Like out of
Y-
2 years ago, he's very highly regarded. So
Yeah, I could see
a
him
good
being
contributor out off the bench for NIU, which is
yes,
NIU. I think is awesome. Like their freshman
yes.
class is great too. I have a couple freshmen there that I really like. That I
Okay.
look into. So
Another guy I have is Elmore James the fourth from
I have him
Ohio.
too. Yeah.
He was a good freshman last year, probably going to be in the starting lineup now this year. Um, hard to leave him off under those circumstances. We already kind
Mhm.
of talked about him a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
Let's
he had
see.
ridiculous efficiency looking at his let's see them. Yeah. 51% from the field, 40% from three. Yeah. Good efficiency. So
Do you have another guy?
that's it. That's everybody.
Okay, my final guy was Bashir Jihad for Ball State. Decently skilled big, can be a solid rebounder who I think could step up with Ball State. Losing a lot of guys, like obviously no Peyton Sparks there. So I think he's a guy that could take a jump because of that.
Yeah, he was solid.
Um,
Yeah. He's Indian,
yeah,
and if people don't know, if you can tell.
yes, really cannot tell based on name, but
But yeah, I did watch a couple of their games last year.
he's solid though.
He's not bad at all.
Decently young too, going to his third year. Um, Moving to our all freshmen though, one guy that we should both easily have is Sonny Wilson from Toledo. He's probably going to
Yes.
be their starting point guard as a freshman, like borderline top 150 guy. It's he's easily the freshman of the year, in my opinion. Like
There's a lot of good freshmen here.
but he's easily the freshman of the year. Like he's probably the starting point guard on a
That's
top
true.
ish on the top tier team in the
How about
conference.
Ryan Prather Jr.? He's nice. He's nice.
Did you put
Redshirt
him on your
freshman.
team?
Yes, he's
Yeah.
very good.
I did not go with him. I did go with a few redshirt freshmen though. I went with actually, let's see. Javon Simmons from Toledo, I think is a redshirt freshman
Okay.
that I had. And I also had Brendan Moss for Kent State, who's another redshirt freshman.
Okay.
Two guys who I think could play decent roles on um decent teams.
Yeah. So then I have Sonny Prather. And I have Will Lovings Watts as a three
Okay.
star. He's a guy I like a lot. Combo guard at 6'5", that should bring a lot of skills to NIU. And would I be? I don't. Maybe no, he wouldn't start. They got just great
Uh,
backcourt. So he'd be off the bench. Certainly, I think can be one of the first guys off the bench. So I think he's gonna be in for a good season.
yeah. A guy I had was Ball State point guard Joey Brown. I think he's a guy who could see a decent role right away. And could be a solid contributor right away as well. My final guy, I threw Anquan Bolden Jr. on there just because
Hey,
Buffalo does not have a very strong bench. I think he could be in for some real minutes right away.
there you
Like,
go.
I think it could happen. I feel like I remember Anquan Bolden playing. Like, am I really that old?
Right, I know, man. Anquan Bolden was in the league forever. He was like a receiver for like 18 years. He's one of the longest tenured receiver. I think maybe that's a little long, but he was in the league a while. Like
Let me check. Let me fact check that.
he was one of the
Yeah, he
longest.
was in the league for a while. He until 2016
Yeah, I'm
from
about to say he didn't retire
2003.
all that long ago. Well, think about
He
7 years ago
was
now.
I was that he was in the league for a while. But yeah. Let's see. Moving on to do you have any more freshmen?
Oh, yes, I
Really?
do. I love EJ Greer from Bowling Green.
Okay.
He is 6'8" guard from Lansdowne, PA, somewhat near to me. He averaged 25 points a game at a prep season, which I love prep. So really excited about him. Yeah, he went to a conference I used to play in as a junior. He went the BAL. It's a weak league, but he went to prep school to really get himself ready for college ball, and he seems to be really ready.
Okay.
So that's what I like to see. And yeah, he seems to be really skilled. I think he was averaging 25, 8 and 3. So he's a good passer as well. That's really good to see. They have another freshman I like too. Let me check back here. Um, Maybe that was somebody else, but um, yeah, no, I do like Bowling Green's roster though. I'm pretty high on them.
Okay. Let's see. Moving to our individual team
Oh, and
reviews,
I have
or
Hunter
unless you have any.
Harding from Central Michigan.
Okay.
Top five center in Canada for whatever that means, but I think he's easily going to be the starter.
Is
7 foot,
he
two
is he
thirty.
is he Marcus Harding's brother?
You know what? Okay, might be. I originally had somebody else on here, but I decided to put him on there because Central Michigan's just going to be an
Yeah,
adventure.
he's the brother of Marcus Harding, so
Yeah, and I feel like he's
um
going to start, so I don't think they got
well,
any.
Marcus Harding's probably gonna start. I don't know. Either way, Central Michigan's not gonna be that good. We will talk about it shortly, but first we will talk about Western Michigan, who was last in the league
Oh
last
boy,
year. I have them 11th.
I got them last. I got them.
Um, there could be some reasons for excitement. One is that they're gonna have B. Artist White back from injury. He was good. Like he wasn't great in his last year, but he I think he had a year where he was really good.
Yeah, I was about to
Let
say,
me
I
pull up his
remember, I do
stats.
remember him being all right, but like, yeah, last year wasn't it? But
Yeah,
again, it was
he
a
he
train wreck.
was he was good his sophomore year, averaged like 14 points.
That's right.
Shot really
That
well from
sounds more
three.
right.
So yeah, he's a really quick guard. Can pretty small. 6 foot 150, but
That
can
coach
can
just needs to go, man. He's done such a
he's in his
terrible.
second year.
Oh, they fired the other guy, the
Yeah,
young dude.
yeah. So
Uh,
that's another reason why I'm kind of like optimist, like
okay.
a little
I remember the other
optimistic.
guy from like 3 years ago.
Yeah, no, they got a new coach last year, which is like second year of the program is starting to build up a little bit more. That's why I didn't have them dead last. But yeah,
Okay.
White's a guy I'm really intrigued on. I think he could be really good, but I don't know what he's going to be like after he
Yeah,
wasn't great 2 years ago. Didn't play at all last year due to injury. Um, Javon Hanna was a guy that was like pretty not that good as a freshman, but he's also a guy that was a decently ranked recruit and also could break out from like the guard wing.
Trump's
Anth-
okay.
Anthony Crump was a solid player at Northern Illinois. Javante Brown is not a very good basketball player, but he has a lot of size and has played at the high major level for a few years. Really good or not good big man, but really
Besides
like
those four
big.
guys, it gets pretty rough though. I'll say that.
Yeah, they have a decent D2 point guard, Chancey Willis Jr. I think could play some decent minutes right away from Saginaw Valley State. Titus Wright is an okay big man as well. I don't know if Javante Brown's going to be eligible. Um, I
That's
don't know
okay.
what the word on that is. A few JUCO guys. Um, yeah, Seth Hubbard back. Like really, the ceiling of this team is White. If he's like good, and Hannah, I think the backcourt is crucial. Like those guys have a lot of potential.
Yeah,
Um, any other thing notes on the Broncos?
they just need to get better defensively too. I think.
They just need to kind of get better everywhere,
Yeah,
really.
I
But
was about to say.
um,
I can say that anywhere. They're really bad.
yeah, it was not a great year last year, but who knows? Well, we will see if that gets
Tough
better.
job. Tough
Next
job.
next team is Central Michigan. I have them last.
I got them second to last.
Yeah, like they had talent last year and they were still like pretty bad. Like
They've been
they
doing that
had
for a little while now. That song and dance, the talent wasting song and dance. So
yeah, I mean they had like Bass who transferred to Kent State,
the
Jesse
Oregon
Zarzuela
dude.
transferred to Oregon, like
Yeah.
Boopy Miller transferred to Wake Forest, like Pavrette transferred to George Mason, like had a guy transfer to Coastal, like Sacramento State, like and they were so bad. Like how they had so much talent and they have considerably less talent this year.
They just didn't
Um
play any.
Yeah, like I don't really like this roster either. I like Brian Taylor, but like Anthony Pritchard, is not a guy I'm a huge fan of. Coming from Tulsa, which should obviously be a red flag in itself. He is he's a turnover machine. I mean, solid passer, but also turns over at an alarmingly high rate. Like, I don't know. Well, Paul McMillan's a guy that like you could be excited about. Former decently ranked recruit, point guard from Angie IT last year, averaged like 6 points a game there. They have a few like JUCO guys that could be okay, but like overall, oh, there goes Kyle. Um, well, we will see when he gets back. Yeah, I thought he was just sitting there doing nothing, but he was actually frozen. Makes more sense, but he should be back momentarily. We'll see if he has any more thoughts on Central Michigan. They have a few freshmen. Caden Vasco is a guy I've heard that could be decent right away. Um, Jamal Davis from Florida Southwestern JUCO could be solid as well. A very good junior college program over there. Marcus Harding averaged 9 points a game last year. Max Marley is another starter they have returning. Zane Foster, another JUCO guy they bring in, another guy to provide some big man depth for them there. But yeah, I wonder where he is. Well, yeah, he's had some connection issues in the past. So we will see if he finds his way back into the Zoom call shortly, which has not seemed to be the case so far. Here he is. All right. Well, you're back. And any thoughts on
It's
Central Michigan? Though I was kind
yeah,
of
I know
talking.
everyone missed my Central Michigan tirade.
That's okay. Well, let's hear it again. Let's pretend like this is your first time saying it.
Yeah, it's just like they've been a high scoring team maybe a couple years ago. They just don't have an identity now. Like they don't play any defense. Like, is it the same coach they're rocking with still?
Yep, Tony Barbie,
Oh boy.
Auburn legend.
Of course he's from Auburn. Auburn
I
has
mean,
had some ooh Cliff Ellis. Ooh some bad coaches.
yeah, Tony
Horrible
Barbie
coaches.
was. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
that,
know. They were bad in offense last year,
yeah,
considering they
no,
had like talent.
hope Todd Simon, as I was saying, is in to fix Bowling Green. It's defensive issues last year. They gave up like 120 in a game last year. I was like, what? How?
Next team, though, unless you have any more thoughts on Central Michigan, we have Eastern Michigan. The directional Michigan schools, not very good basketball programs. But Eastern Michigan is my favorite out of the three. I had them sitting at
Yeah.
eighth this year. Um,
Okay. I got them right above Central Michigan. We'll just see how much winning basketball
okay.
they play.
I think they're going to get maybe a little bit better because they don't have Bates or Farrakhan. Especially Farrakhan.
Yeah,
Bates was like
Farrakhan was
solid. Bates could win them games.
good.
But it didn't do much of that last year, honestly. Farrakhan was just kind of a detriment to the
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
But so A Cup is was better than either in that last year. You have like Lovejoy, Jeter, like two rising sophomores that could really be solid. Billingsley, former high major guy as well. John McGriff, another former high major guy coming in. He's coming from Binghamton. Should be
Binghamton.
a solid, potentially backup point guard.
They solid.
Not a ton I love on the bench. Yusuf
Yeah,
Jihad, the
it's
brother of Bashir Jihad, is there. Cyril Martinov, Georgia Tech guy that
I mean,
didn't really do much. I saw him play at U19 this summer for Canada. Did not necessarily impress me. Um,
hmm.
the bench is kind of weak,
Yeah,
but
that's
like
kind of why I
I can
hesitate
get
with
behind the
having them
starting
on.
lineup.
Yeah.
Like I can get
Hope they
behind
play
this.
more winning basketball this year.
They will.
I
It's
definitely
hard to
hope.
play less winning basketball when they do not have Bates or Farrakhan.
I just think it's kind of Stan Heath's style, though. I don't know. They just like to run and not play any defense. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
It could be both.
it's um,
I think
but I
obviously Imani and Farrakhan had a part to play with it, but I definitely
mm,
think it's a coaching thing too.
yeah, that's another thing. Stan Heath, another former high major coach, that was not terrible when he was a high major. He was not
He does
anything
develop
special though.
talent. Like, you look at some, and these recruits,
He's kind of whatever.
these
Like
recruits, they seek out him for NBA development. Like,
he
even
is.
a tough,
It doesn't hurt getting Emoni Bates to NBA. Like even
right?
though that would have happened probably.
Farrakhan was
Okay.
trying to team up with them to make the pros, but that didn't seem to go very well. He's just not what he thinks he is.
No, he's not. He's not a winning player.
No,
That's what it comes down to.
no.
Next team, no Bowling Green. I have him seventh.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's around where I have them. I have them six. Yeah, I have them six. Again, it's a roster I love, and I love Simon.
okay,
So
yeah. I'm in on the roster. Two good JUCO guys: Marcus Hill, Dejan Humphrey, Jason Spurgeon coming in, Trey Thomas, Deshaun Phillip from UMass, like PJ Edwards from UCF.
yeah,
Um,
they got some good guard depth. So that
Rashana
definitely
G's
helps.
a decent returner, like DJ Smith. I sort of like the roster. Like
Oh,
I don't
and
love it.
Jemai Felt is somebody I really want to sleep on. I had
Okay.
originally had him all freshman team.
Okay. Redshirt
Six,
freshman. Yeah.
now I see him 6'10" from Our Savior Lutheran, which is a really good school in New York.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, really excited for him. I really hope he gets good minutes behind Spurgeon. So he averaged 22 and 15. So we'll see. Really,
Okay.
Our Savior Lutheran to a 29-6 record, their best in program history. So we'll be like winners over here too. He didn't play last year though. So
Yeah, redshirt
um,
freshman, but
yes. Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Aji's a pretty solid returning player. It'll be interesting to see how him and Spurgeon fit together
Hmm.
because they're both big men who are both definitely playable in this. I think they're gonna play them together. I mean, they have to play them together. They have to do something
AG's
there, but
okay. I mean, maybe they start him.
yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know
it's harder to
because
put
he's
him on the
older.
bench.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both really old, but like
Hmm.
he was productive last year considering how bad they were. Yeah, decently assembled roster. I think Simon did a good job. I mean, I also think that there's just a limit to what you can do in your first year at Bowling Green.
Yeah, that's for
So,
sure. He
um,
exceeded my expectations for what I thought I
yeah,
was going to see.
we'll see how
Let's
that
compare it to
translates.
what the new guy at Southern Utah is doing.
It's he has like
He's like a
not much is
JV
going on
player,
there.
man. I remember covering that. That was brutal.
Yeah, that was a questionable hire there, but Bowling Green made a good hire for sure. Next team, Miami, Ohio. I have them sixth.
Yeah, I have them eighth. Yeah.
Really,
I
they have a
mean,
lot of talent. Travis Steele is kind of like bringing
yeah,
me down now. He's not a
exactly.
terrible coach, just like so mediocre. Like he's not gonna like drastically underperform to the point where you're like just terrible, but he's also just like so mediocre.
He
Like
was wasting some talent, but
this
then
roster
again,
is talented again though. Like
yeah,
Mirambo, Stafford in the front court, Bradley
I
Dean's
like
gonna put
them.
up some buckets.
I kind of
Um,
slept on Dean. Yeah, we'll see.
he's good. He
Um,
can really score the ball. He can really shoot.
that's
Um,
good. Miami's so
Darwashi Hunter,
respectable.
9 point per game score in the conference. Like
Uh-huh.
Ryan Mabry. But yeah, Mirambo's a guy I'm really excited for. Him and Dean. Mirambo really
I just don't
skilled.
see this team being very deep, personally.
I mean, they have like a solid few guys out the
Boltman's
bench. They have
okay, I guess
yeah,
his depth.
Bryson Boltman averaged like 16, 6, and 5 at
He's a grad, yeah. So he's
D2. I think he could be a really solid point guard.
yeah, about to say. I mean, he's
Like
got a lot of
5 assists,
experience.
16 points.
He got these La Lumiere Lumiere guys as well, for what it's worth.
Okay.
Makai Cooper looks pretty good. I think I was looking at him.
Okay. I
He
mean,
looks all right.
they have a big freshman class, so we will see how those guys work out. But
Yeah,
yeah,
the depth was really concerning for me. That's kind of why I hesitated here. But their starting five's
yeah,
all right. I don't
yeah.
know.
I mean, again, is Travis still gonna underwhelm, or is he gonna actually live up to what he
We'll
has
see. I hope,
on
man.
the
Like,
roster?
there's got to be a level where you can succeed. I would hope, man. Like,
You would hope, but yeah, just
I have
yeah,
my PTSD from hyping up his teams at Xavier too. So that's definitely a part of it.
yeah. I'm not really sure why Miami, Ohio hired him.
That was weird. That
He
was weird. It is
never
in state
really,
though, but
yeah,
yes, you gotta remember.
yeah. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Next team though, Northern Illinois. I had them at fifth.
I got him a third.
I
Yeah, very high on him.
That is very high. But I am like them as well. Coit and Williams is a outstanding backcourt. Um, Harvin at Bargain is super efficient from the
Uh,
big man.
Yeah, no, I was
Really
looking at him.
effective player
Nazir
there.
Muhammad's a really good freshman as well.
Yeah, I'm
Is
not sure if
the
he'll
other
play
guy.
this year, due to just who's above him, but
Oh
I
yeah,
think
no,
he
no.
could be decent in the coming years.
Tariq
You
Nutter is another
got
guy.
yes,
Um,
he is there as well. Averaged double digits last year. Jebuet is I don't know. She started in the Big East. That's I'll just say that and don't give any
Ethan
additional
Butler is
context.
intriguing
Yes,
from
Ethan Butler
Oregon.
is a guy I think could be pretty good. I think people are saying like he would have played at Oregon if he wasn't hurt, like he would have
Okay,
actually
that's
got
good.
minutes. So that kind of really intrigues me there.
They got
McPherson's another guy
McPherson.
like that who's like hasn't played but could be good. Like he was at a high major school for a reason. Loving's watch could be solid.
Yeah.
Um, And then the other bench guys are like solid. Like they have guys that can play like a
This
few
is a
minutes a
deep
game.
team. I'm really
Um,
excited for them.
like they're
Yeah.
not like amazing, but like these guys can play off the bench. Like Xavier Amos, like Oluweskin Durosinmi, St.
And
Bonaventure legend
honestly,
there. Like,
they got arguably the best backcourt in the conference.
yeah,
You
that
don't get
doesn't
any
hurt
better than
either.
those two guys. Like,
Yeah.
you could argue maybe you can combine a couple of Ohio's guards, but like,
No,
yeah, no,
I think um those two
and I
from
loved
NIU are the best.
coach with how they handled the injuries last year. I think a jump can very well be made this year with Kent State losing a lot, Toledo losing Shoemate and Dennis. I think for them to hurdle those two is very doable in my opinion. Even though those coaches are great, they are. But I think NIU's rosters, personally, I think it's a little better. But that is
Yeah.
just
NIU very good roster. New head coach ish too. I think he's going to his third year. Obviously
they
made
had someone
waves when
really bad a
he
while
made
ago.
waves when he beat Washington's like first head coaching game of his career.
That's
Um,
great.
they just shouldn't have won that game. I mean, they did win that game, but like it's not like that really continued on. But like they got better last year. They were decent in conference play, split even. And I think this year they could really improve that. Healthy Williams a full year, you would hope. And some solid pieces around it they added. Moving next to Buffalo, I had them 10th.
Okay. Um, I had them seventh. I think
Okay.
there's some pieces I think
I
that
mean, Chapman
do.
could be solid. Isaiah
Yeah.
Adams hypothetically could be good. He was good as a freshman and kind of has disappointed since.
Yeah.
Um, Joe Smith. I mean,
Yeah, they just got a lot of. They do have some good freshmen. A couple. That I
yeah.
was looking at.
I'm not
I
sure
hope
if it's like
Halkovich
they have
does a
good
good
freshmen as
job.
much as they just have freshmen who are going to
Um,
play because
you know, I hope
yeah,
Halkovich does a good job because that's kind of why I put him a little higher. Being on the J Ray tree. But I
Cherry
know,
Tree's not good though.
of course. But here's what I'm gonna say in counter. They were looking at McCollum, right?
Yeah,
Your
and they didn't
guy.
get him.
But
They
you
couldn't get
compare
a D2
anybody
coach.
to McCollum, they're not gonna look good, dude.
Yeah,
Like
it's not that. Like
he's
it's the fact
elite.
that Halkovich was like not their like first or second or third option. Like they were
Or their
they
second or third
I
options.
don't remember who it was, but I just remember that Halkovich was like not high, like not like incredibly high in their like picking order. So that doesn't really get me super enthused when guys are turning down a job left and right.
It's
Um,
Akira Williamson is a guy I like. Redshirt sophomore.
yeah. They also
Obviously
have
great
James
body.
Graham, who I don't think will be eligible this year for Maryland, Missouri State transfer. Not really that
He
good
wasn't great
though.
in Maryland.
He's kind of underwhelmed considering what he was billed out to be as a recruit, but he probably won't play this year. So hopefully you get a good year of development. Hopefully you can be good next year. But overall, maybe you get something out of Kanye Jones, former Boston College transfer, who didn't do
Yeah,
much
it's a
last
pretty
year.
rough roster,
But
admittedly.
yeah, really not a lot of proven production. A lot of freshmen, a few guys that didn't really do much before here.
Mm,
Sean Folger's a JUCO guy that put up some decent numbers there. I don't know how that'll translate. Most JUCO guys that go D1 have good numbers. Cy
mm.
Chapman, good forward, good inside scorer. Um,
Genevius will be pretty good.
yeah. Isaiah Adams is a guy that has the potential. Like he has
Yeah,
a lot of potential.
he is
He was like a NBA draft process guy as a freshman.
really.
Um, yeah, and then never really like live up to that. Like as a freshman, he averaged like 9.9 points, was decently efficient. Like he's a good athlete.
Okay,
And he was like not good his freshman or sophomore year. Last year at Buffalo, he was decent. I mean, he averaged double digits, but like I think he has a lot of potential,
for sure.
hypothetically. But yeah, a lot of freshmen off the bench. Who knows how that'll work out? it's I don't
Buffalo's
know.
always
The roster's
eventful.
not strong.
Buffalo's always eventful.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting because Buffalo the past few years they've had like talent, talent,
And then
talent.
just wasted
This
all
year
of it.
there's like short on talent,
Right.
but they have some pieces still. So we will see how that works. Next team is Ohio. I had them second.
I got them first. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
The one reason why I didn't have him first is because Dwight Wilson was really good.
Yes, he was.
But they do have a good starting lineup.
I'm
Hunter
big on
Brown.
Akron usually every year. I love John Gross. I do. But I
Yes.
think they're gonna miss Xavier Castaneda a little bit.
Yeah, we will talk about that in a minute. But yeah,
Um,
Ohio, they obviously have like Jalen Hunter is going to be very good. Miles Brown, AJ Brown, uh, Elmore James. You get power six down transfers, and Sharif Mitchell, Cornish. Gabe Wisnister is a former down transfer that was at Ohio last year. So like there's a lot here. Very
they
solid
aren't
starting
that
lineup.
deep. That is the one thing, right?
And you're not. They're not. They don't have terrible depth. I think it
Yeah.
could be worse.
Yeah, I mean they only play like 7, 8 guys anyway. So
I mean, and they'll have 7 or 8 solid guys that can play this year. So
exactly, for sure.
I don't think they'll have any big issues with their AJ Brown. I think guy freshman last year, double digit score, could really make an
Miles
impact.
Brown's
Um,
interesting.
yeah, both of the Browns there are double digit scores last year.
44% from the field, 44% from three. There you go.
Okay.
10 points a
Yeah.
game. That'll go. Fifth year. Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
Elmore being for a big year. They got a lot of good guards, so that's always what I look for.
Ohio had a very good offense last year.
They did.
A
Yeah, they
lot of that
always
was due to
will.
Wilson. I don't think it'll be as good without him, but I think it'll still
I think
be
Akron,
decent.
I think, missing the void with Xavier Castaneda is so big. I mean, Wilson was a good player, but Xavier
Yeah,
Castaneda was,
we'll
man.
talk about that. We'll talk about that. We'll get there in a minute. I know you're itching to talk about that, but we will hit that in two teams. Anything more about Ohio though? Sharif
No,
Mitchell, I don't think he's a guy you're building him out to be, but he has clamps. Like
that's good.
he has clamps. Like you put
Ohio
him on like
defensively can be a little bit better. So that's good to hear. Like they do have their
yeah,
struggles.
like you can just put him on like their best guard and he's gonna shut them down.
But it's more of
Especially
like
at the
there's
MAC
just so
level.
many good offensive teams in this conference. It's tough to be a good defensive team in this conference. Like
Yeah,
Toledo,
it's
Kent
the MAC
State,
is running offense.
Akron, great
The
offenses.
MAC
Even
is an
some of the
offensive
bottom teams.
conference. The only good defensive team last year was like Kent State,
Right,
and
exactly.
everyone else was like offensive based.
Hmm.
Um, let me pull this. Yeah, most teams were like way better on offense than they were on defense, except a few like teams that just weren't that good. Like Central Michigan was way better on defense, but they weren't really that good in both sides of the ball either
Yeah.
way. Kent State was really like Akron was a
Was
solid
it?
defensive team as
Yeah.
well, but really a offensive conference. But yeah, next team, Ball State. I had him ninth this year.
Yeah, I do not like that roster. I have them around the same.
Um,
Believe, yeah, I think I have them ninth.
yeah,
Yeah, I got them ninth.
it did not help that they lost John Coleman so late in the process, which was
Yeah, they could.
um like that was an interesting move for sure,
Boogie
losing
Coleman.
him that late. Yeah, I mean
I mean, to
Jalen
have Jalen Anderson
Anderson.
and Ethan Britton Watts as your backcourt. Oh.
I think that's solid for the MAC. Like it's not bad. Jalen Anderson was a good player in the WCC.
He was okay, dude. Yeah, I think I
He
kind of
was good.
overrated him, but
He was
yeah,
really good in conference play last year.
yeah.
He shot like 40 something. He shot like 43% from three in conference play. Not like super high volume, but was an efficient scorer. Can kind of be a secondary ball handler, but also
I
kind of
think a
turns
lot
over
more is
more than
being
you'd
asked of
want.
him this year. He was next to
Um,
Sheldon last year.
yeah, but
You
I
know,
think he could be like he wasn't a super low volume guy.
it's good.
Will Marymount, I think he could be a
Make
solid
Mickey
player there.
Pearson
They
go.
do have him back.
Micah Bell is intriguing, redshirt freshman from Link Year. He seems to be a pretty good freshman. I remember looking at his numbers last night. So, yeah, he 20 a game, 20 and 5, 46 from the field, 41 from three. Probably will
Okay,
get some minutes.
okay.
Was he
Yeah.
Davion Bailey?
Overall, they lose three all commerce guys from last year. Like
Right.
that's
I mean,
kind
they
of what it
were.
boils down to.
Yeah, it's really that
Um,
simple.
not a super deep team either. Like they lost so many guys. They lost like Demarius Jacobs too, who was also a good player. They lost. I mean, like even like Wyndham, who transferred to Moorhead.
I think
They just
Ball
lost.
State was actually a pretty good defensive team last year, if I'm not mistaken. They were one of the teams that was
Let me
pretty.
pull up. Let me run some numbers here.
Jose some good bigs and
Yeah, I mean they did have some good bigs.
Mason Jones is
They were an
interesting.
offensive team last year, based on the
Mason
numbers.
Jones is very interesting. He had my
Um,
attention too, but um, yeah, he had a 19 a game. He's part of Indiana. I don't know. These are dumb accolades, but he had
I mean,
1,400 points.
all like
Took
every guy does that.
Yeah, I mean, 19 and 8 is pretty nice.
I mean, all these D1 recruits do that though. Joey
Ah,
Brown, I think,
well,
could be good though. Zane
I've seen
Dowdy,
some bad
also.
ones. Trust me. The
Yeah,
8 and
yeah, but
6, the 10 and 3.
I mean, I don't know enough about where these guys are playing high school basketball to make
Exactly.
an accurate
That's why I
representation
didn't
on this.
really. It was in
Yeah.
Valpo, Indiana. Like, I don't know if that's any good. That was
Next
my
is
big thing.
Akron. No, I had them first.
Okay.
Um, or do you have them?
I got them second, obviously.
Okay. I mean, I think Freeman's the best player in the conference. I
Yeah.
think Ali is going to be very solid returning back. They also have Mikhail Dawson back, who was hurt a few years ago, or he was hurt
Yeah.
last year. He was a good player, fringe starter on the team that made the tournament. Greg Tribble, really solid defensive player back. You got Caleb Thornton, good uh, pure point guard. Sammy Hunter off the bench can shoot for a big man, former high major player there. Um, Nate Johnson was an efficient player off the bench last year. And you have some other guys that could be
I
decent,
like
but
Emoni Lyles. He's
eh,
underrated. 6'7",
I mean,
sophomore,
I don't
20
dislike
and
him.
12.
He's probably like their 12th man,
But
but
yeah,
maybe
they're
not.
a deep team, of course.
I think this is the best team in the conference.
I just don't like their guards, dude. Like, it's like
Thornton's like a
patchwork.
good passer though. Like he's a good passer.
You need shot creation, man. Shot creation, shot creation,
Yeah,
shot
that's the thing
creation.
they don't
You
especially
know,
have with their guards.
Prather is the guy I'm looking for when it comes to that. Maybe he can really step up and be that guy. Greg Tribble is a good player. I like him
He's a defensive
defensively,
player. He's a
but he
defensive player.
cannot play on the offensive end. Like, he's really
No,
limited there. Shema Scott, I think, was pretty solid or something. Yeah.
he's he could be
Uh,
decent moving
it
down
was
low.
Thornton. Yeah, no, it was Thornton is the better of the two.
Um, yeah, that does bring up an interesting point. The
I
guards
mean,
don't
you
really have a
compare
ton
these
of
guards
shot
to
creation.
NIU, you compare them to like,
Yeah, but this is easily the best front court in the conference.
yeah, I
Ali and
mean, but you
Freeman.
can't have that much of a disadvantage at the guard
Yeah,
spot in this
losing Cassidy
conference.
is going to be big, but
Like,
I think like
and you got to think about it, right? This is a conference that loves to push the pace and run. Guard play is so important. Like, you gotta be able to keep up with other
I mean
teams'
Ali
guard.
can kind of like play in the wing. I
He
mean
can though.
he's not like
No,
a
he's
like
not
a
like a pure four.
facilitator, but he can play in a wing, can shoot a little bit, can drive. Yeah, I do think that I mean, Thornton can play fast, just doesn't really have like super shot creating
And
abilities.
Ohio, so many good guards, 4 to 5.
Yeah. I
Although I will say Akron is a big advantage on Ohio in the front court.
like
Huge.
Freeman is probably the best player in the
He's
conference,
awesome.
dominant
Young.
big man.
He-
Sammy Hunter as a backup can shoot for a big man is really solid as well. Um, yeah, I think Nate.
Akron will be a good defensive team this year. They'll have their defensive identity for sure. At an all-time high this year. Um, that's
Yeah,
gonna win them games.
Nate
Um,
Johnson is intriguing. He
yeah.
didn't. He wasn't a super high usage guy last year, but was fairly efficient. And he was playing decent down the stretch a few games. I think he could potentially maybe step into a bigger role this year. And
One of these guards really has to break out. Like that's the
yeah,
really
and I don't
thing
see
to worry
Tribble really
about.
being a guy that can do that offensively.
No,
That is a fair concern. Um,
I hope it's. I mean, let's look at Prather a little closer here. Redshirt
I mean,
freshman.
Richard, he was a decently recruit, I
Yeah,
believe.
24 and 10, 6'5", 210, strong kid.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll see if he has shot creation
yeah.
abilities.
I might watch some film on him afterwards, but we'll see.
Yes.
I love
Next
John
team,
Gross though.
yeah, I mean he's good at Akron.
Mm. Not at
Wasn't
other
really good at
places,
Illinois. He
but
was okay at Illinois, but not like good enough to actually keep his job.
right.
He's definitely made Akron a lot better when he's been there though. But next team is Kent State. I have them at fourth.
Yeah, I got them 5. Yeah.
Okay. I mean they lose Sincere Carry, which is a big loss. Those Malik Jacobs, Merton Thomas, like three big losses right there. Obviously, Chris Payton's going to be really good. Reggie Bass is a guy that could be improved, like Solinger, Santiago, Claron Hornbeek, very efficient, a big. So yeah, there are pieces here. Brendan Moss, redshirt freshman. Um, yeah,
Front
they just need
court,
somebody to
besides
step up.
Peyton, is kind of. But Peyton will give you so much in the front court, of course. So you don't need much other production there, I guess. Um, Depth is kind of a concern, obviously. And then
I mean,
somewhat,
and they
not
have a
entirely.
solid. They have a really solid like at least a.
Yeah, I'll say, and they just need a number one option as a guard.
Yeah, that's
They
Bass could be
need
that guy.
They need Bass to be that guy. Like
I
you were
think
saying, he can be that guy. He's
he
got to
could
be
be
that
that
guy.
guy.
Um,
Um,
he
how do
looks
we
like
think this
sincere
team is going to be
carry
on?
too. I
How do we think they're going to be on defense? Because they were
think
like a really good defensive team last year.
mm,
They do lose Malik Jacobs, who was amazing on
awesome.
defense.
He was awesome, man.
I mean, he was three-time MAC all defense, won a DPOY last year. He was a phenomenal defensive player.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they get quite a bit worse on that end. I'm
But at the
looking
same time, Chris Payton's another really good defender.
rim
Hornbeak,
protection.
really good defender. Like
It's more of the
Jacobs is
perimeter.
obviously the guy,
The
but like
perimeter is what I'm looking at.
Sincere
Jalen
Carey didn't
Solinger.
really bring much on defense. Not like Solinger brings much more, but like
Can Santiago defend? No.
I mean
He's 6'1", 170.
he was a decent defender last year
Yeah. He was
based on
hurt
the
a ton last
numbers.
year too. Sucked, but
Honestly more of a defensive player than offensive player. If
Reggie
you
Bass, maybe he's good on defense. I don't know. I don't think so.
probably
That's where
not.
I think the Kent State got a lot worse was on the perimeter defensively.
But
I mean,
like
you lose Malik Jacobs.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
massive.
That
Um,
was just such a huge loss. But I don't know. Bass can be. I mean,
Chaim
he.
Freeman maybe could be a good defender. Yeah,
Yeah,
6'5",
Bass
206.
probably won't be much, but
Yeah, I mean he's not great, but
yeah, I think Freeman could be a good defender. Let's see. Let's pull up his defensive numbers. See if there's.
I just look for guys who have good size, but not only that, have a big frame, like 200, like and he's played
Yeah,
at a pretty high level.
yeah. I
So
mean, he's old. has
Right,
some decent
that too.
experience.
Yeah, they're
He
gonna need
wasn't that
help
good of a
there.
defender last year. He really wasn't that great overall
Mm,
at UCF, but I think he's just a
yeah,
guy that
about
could
to say.
benefit from moving down a level.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, honestly, did he even move
yeah,
down that much? Like the
yeah,
American? Yeah, okay. I mean, the
yeah.
American's really good at the top, of course. But
I mean, UCF was good last year too.
that's true.
Basically just Taylor Hendricks, but
Yeah,
he was good. um, yeah. Kent State gonna fall off a little bit without Carey, but still like send off is like a coach I just trust. He's
He's
been
awesome.
pretty good the past few years. Had his best year of his career by far last year. I think it regresses a little bit, but not like to the point where they're
Disappointing
not
tournament,
competitive.
though. I thought they were going to go on a run. I was very
Yeah,
disappointed.
I wish, but they put up a decent fight with Indiana,
It was a bit of a step.
decent-ish. Like
The
they
defense
were
wasn't
they were.
there.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean it's hard to defend when you have like Trace Jackson Davis.
that's very true.
Um, Not much they can do in that situation.
And Carey shot the ball terribly that game, I remember, which was that's what really
Yeah,
lost the
he
game.
wasn't shooting the ball great all year, honestly. He was,
That's
but
true. No, it
that
wasn't your
game
sincere
was.
carry season. No, it wasn't.
He was a lot better 2 years ago,
He was.
but he was still like really good. Like he's a guy that could really just put up
He did really
buckets.
well in the conference tournament. If I don't, or at the end of the year, he
Yeah, I mean,
quite a
yeah,
bit.
he was playing good towards the end of the year
Yeah,
for
the
sure.
beginning, most of the first half was rough for him.
Yeah. Next team Toledo finished first last year. I have them at third.
I got them at fourth.
Um, They obviously lose a lot, but this is another team that I just kind of trust that they're gonna get the players that are gonna just be better. Kowalczyk was a guy that was rumored for Charlotte this offseason. Like everyone was like, "Oh,
I
he's gonna take
remember
it." Right? He didn't take
that.
it. Toledo's been really good. They've been top 100 the past 3 seasons. Don't think they're gonna be top 100 this year, but I do still think they're going to be a very solid team in the MAC.
Hope one of these years they can make a tournament just because I feel
Yeah.
bad.
Like Tyler Cochran is a guy coming back from injury, I believe. Raheem Moss, like Dante Maddox. Those guys like played some solid minutes last year. Like
Cochran was solid at Ball State.
the bench is the thing I'm worried about. You have like
Yeah. Um,
Miletic and then like and then you have freshmen. Sonny
yeah,
Wilson's gonna be good though.
yeah, that bench is
Sonny Wilson needs to be good.
that's true.
He should be good, but like we also haven't seen him be good at all because
Yeah,
he hasn't played.
maybe these other freshmen like Sam Lewis, from Simeon. His numbers aren't great though, so I don't know.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean,
I do love their development though. I'm not gonna say these guys are gonna be
yeah,
trash.
an offensive, especially like this is a great
Brace
offensive team.
forward. Like if these guys are recruiting these guards, they must be really skilled.
Yeah,
Um,
well, they're
so
probably recruiting guys that don't play defense and want to put up some points.
exactly that's just kind of how about Javon Simmons, redshirt freshman?
Yeah, he was a guy I had in my all freshman team. I think he's gonna see some
Okay.
decent minutes. I think he'll be their first freshman off the bench. Obviously I have Wilson starting,
He just gives them some
but
versatility in defense is what I like to see. Like 6'7", 235. They're gonna need that. They're gonna need that.
he's who knows if they're gonna play defense though. They probably won't.
It's
They were
optional.
fifth in offensive efficiency last year and 295th in defense. That is such a wide discrepancy. No
Yeah,
one played defense last year on this team.
it's just gotta get better. They lost to like what's it called? Didn't they lose like UMKC or
Yeah,
something?
they did. I mean that's what happens when they were so good at the end of the year. They didn't lose from
They were
January 10th
crazy.
until March 11th.
And it was
And then
quiet too. No one was talking about it because everyone was enthralled with Kent State and Akron.
yeah, good some good team. MAC conference play was fun last year.
We've been
Um,
spoiled in years past with it.
Akron was going on a winning streak. Obviously, Kent State was there too. They were winning a lot. Kent State was like good last year, like too, because they played some like good teams and were competitive. They lost to Charleston by 2, Houston by
Gonzaga,
5, Gonzaga by 7.
and they
Like,
were in that Gonzaga game till the last like minute or so, and then
I
they
mean,
really played bad. But that
even
nothing
all
to be ashamed
like
of at the kennel. It was at the kennel too. It was
yeah, Houston versus Kent State. That was a That was a
That was a
defensive
game.
game. That was a
That was a game.
defensive matchup. Sincere Carey shot 2 for 22 that game.
Oh gosh. I didn't watch that and I'm so mad. Like I saw the box score. It was like 40 something to 40. And at halftime, it
I
was
mean,
like,
Marcus Sasser shot 5 of 16, 110 from 3. But yeah, that was a game. Sincere Carey did have 8 steals though.
yeah, Houston could get a little sloppy last year for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, any more thoughts about the MAC? A lot of solid teams. Definitely a league worth watching, I
Yeah,
think.
no, the middle teams really impressed me, like the NIUs, the
Yeah,
Bowling
and
Green.
NIU is a team I'm like really in on in this conference.
Yeah, I'm
Maybe
excited
Miami,
to watch
Ohio.
them.
We'll see how Travis Steele does.
Yeah, I'll give Miami, Ohio a watch. I always do enjoy watching Miami, Ohio when they have Makai Larry and
He was good. Day Grant before
all
him.
them. Day Day. No, those are the
Day Day's
days.
gonna be good this year too at
Oh
Duquesne.
no, of
I mean, he was good
course.
last year, but
We're excited
yeah.
for Duquesne over here. You know that.
A- anything? Let's see. Anything else? I think we kind of touched on everything in the league.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much every day.
well, what conference do you think is next?
We were thinking Conference USA, correct?
Maybe American, or we could do. I
Conference
feel like
USA is
American.
pretty shitty. We could bang it out.
We could.
All right,
Still gonna be.
Liberty's projected one. I swear they better not make it, bro.
Liberty's gonna be good. They're gonna be solid. I don't have them winning, but I guess we can do
They're
Conference
the
USA
preseason
next.
#1. I just saw a poll.
Yeah, I think that
Pretty
in that league
wild.
there's like a lot of
I think what
it's
Western
it's it's
Kentucky
gonna
is the
be tough
best
at the
team.
top. There are like teams that could like we'll talk about it in depth, but I think Conference USA is a league that has a few different options. Like there's no clear cut number one.
Yeah, for sure. It's not a great league this year,
No,
for sure.
it's also down. I mean, they lost all their good teams
Yeah,
basically.
it sucks.
They got some good teams though.
Yeah,
At
there's
least,
some.
yeah.
I'm very high on Western Kentucky this year. We will get
As
into that.
am I. So
Um,
yeah,
Steve Lutz season. Yes, sir.
he's so much better than Rick Stansbury. But yeah, I guess we can do that next. So yeah, if you're still listening, make sure to give us a follow on all our social medias at Hoop Scoop Media, Instagram, Twitter. Um, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done that yet. Follow along with our top 100 countdown. We are 24 days until the college basketball season. Today's video was K-State. This is the first I was knowing about this. You didn't even know it was today because it hasn't recorded yet. But by the time this releases, this will be at night and the video will have been out for like 10 hours. So
K-State, it's like 23 on your list, maybe?
24.
Okay,
Today is
that's good.
24 days until college basketball. We're so
Yes, sir.
close, and we have to bang out some conference previews like 1 days now. We're gonna grind to get
How
these all
many more do
done.
we got? Like,
Oh, we got a lot.
still 15 or so, I'm thinking.
We got
Maybe
more than that.
more.
Yeah, like 20 left, I think. Let me count. Let's get a share the listeners with our counting. D1 conferences. Let's
Do we skip the NEC?
No, we gotta put it in. We can do a shorter episode since it's gonna be such a bad conference, but we're gonna do it. Sacred Heart could be decent, not decent, but like to the point where they're gonna win the league, I guess. Um. Anyway, I'm trying to pull up a conference list. This is harder than you
Well,
would
we
think.
haven't done any of like the HBCU conferences, so there's a bunch to
No,
do.
I mean there's only 2 of them, but that'll go quick. Let's see. What do we have? We have the America East, AAC, ASUN, ACC, A10, Big East, Big South, Big Ten, CAA, Conference USA, it's 10, Horizon, Ivy, the AA MAC, MEAC. We have to talk about Chicago State at some point. That's not in a conference, but we'll touch on them at some point. Not counting
Okay.
that, but
All right. All right.
let's see. The NEC,
I'll hold you to it.
it's 15. Patriot, SEC, SoCon, Southland, SWAC,
Not some shitters.
Sunbelt. So we have 21 to go in 24 days. We can start cranking out some two-a-days. But
For
yeah,
sure.
we will see you maybe tomorrow, maybe sometime soon for the Conference USA preview.